Hey readers, today to follow up with this lesson, you're going to use this chart for your daily reading book. So your first column says unfamiliar word. Now sometimes we might know the word, but for this lesson, you're going to think about the words as a word detective. Does it make a good word detective word? So even if I knew the word submarine before I started reading, I could still put it on this page and that's okay. And just because you say a word is unfamiliar doesn't mean you're a bad reader. So don't be nervous or worried that I'll be all judgy as a teacher, like, how do they not know that word? So when we're thinking unfamiliar words, we're thinking about words that maybe the author might have thought that would be unfamiliar to us. So that's okay. Don't worry about that word unfamiliar too much. And definitely don't tell me in the private comments, I knew all the words in this book, because I'm going to say, well, pick another book. So you just might as well pick 3 examples just so I can see that you understood the lesson today. It doesn't necessarily have to be a word that you didn't know, but it's a word that would fit into today's lesson. All right, that's enough about that. Second column, which strategy helped me? So on our first page, and you'll have this in your assignment, you'll have a copy of this. Did you use context clues? Were you looking around the unknown word to figure it out? Were you using your background knowledge? Were you using common word parts, like we talked about with sub, micro, and bio? Or did your book have a glossary? Were you able to find out some of the word definitions by actually looking up in the back of the book, the glossary? Okay, so um, on my chart, I picked out the 3 words that we focused on in our text: salinity, bioluminescence, and submarine. And for salinity, I said that I used our context clues because she gave a definition in the text, and I could look for that word in the glossary. And I probably should have put bold print because I remember that word was a bold print. So that's another clue that it might be an unfamiliar word. And in the last column, I write what I think it means. So salinity is how salty the water in the ocean is. So for bioluminescence, I used WP word parts, I used G glossary, and I used BK or background knowledge. So for bioluminescence, I kind of read about some bioluminescent animals when I went on an aquarium trip. So I kind of remember some things about those. And I could also say word part, bio meant life. And so I came up with the definition, an animal that can make its own light. And finally, submarine, I used word part and I used context clues. For this one, word part, I know that sub means under. And for my context clue, I used the illustration or the photograph and the caption to help me understand more about what a submarine might look like. Because maybe I've seen images of submarines that look like this, but in this text, I could see exactly what kind of submarine this author was thinking about. And so my definition would be a vehicle that can move or travel underwater. Okay, so, and then I love it when you put your text title up here. That way I know which book you read. I would like you to read a variety of books. So if you've been reading the same book over and over again, might be a day to try out a new book. Remember, you can look for nonfiction books in Epic. You can look at the New Hanover County page for to check out e-reader books. You can use your own books from home. If you want to go to the National Geographic website, or if you want to look at another website with good grade level type of topics, that would be a great thing to do. Okay? All right, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson today. And as you're reading, really focus on being a word detective, thinking about the words that are a little bit more challenging, for us as readers of nonfiction, those words that we need to focus on at that higher tier. All right.